The most difficult truth to accept is that, deep down, no one is really concerned about you, neither close friends, nor co-workers, not even those who cross their way by chance. Each person is so absorbed in their own battles, fears and dreams that their falls, tears and screams are lost in the midst of the noise of the life of others. The sooner you understand this, the less suffering you will feel as you expect the help you will never arrive at. It is natural to wish someone to realize their tiredness, extend your hand, give words of comfort, or point away. But the reality is different. The world doesn't work like that. He is indifferent not out of evil, but because each individual is fighting his own storms. When you stumble, some laugh, others look away, and there are those who silently thank you for not being in your place. Very few approach to help, and even these disappear if the need repeat. This truth hurts, but it should not destroy it. On the contrary, it must be your liberation. The moment you stop waiting for a savior, when it assumes full responsibility for your own life, is just when a genuine, independent, and unqualified force is born. As an ancient Jewish proverb says, do not expect the world to be kind to you. Your hardness is what forges resilience. Learning here is not complaining about the indifference of others, but stop spending energy on expectations. It is taking the reins of their own existence and acting as if only you existed. Does it look scary? Perhaps, but this is precisely the way to inner freedom. Why you expect, dream with recognition or seeking approval, your chain. The day you accept that no one will come to your help, you find the key to let go. The biggest trap in which most people fall is the illusion that someone will come to change their lives. The boss will finally value their work. The friend will understand their pain. The family will support. The world will notice their effort. Years pass, and what remains is just frustration. You have already waited for this too, that the circumstances would get better alone, that the salary increased by a miracle, to hit your door, a hand out of the mud. Each time it did not happen. It sank further into the feeling of invisibility. Imagine the scene. A person drowns in a river and screams for help. On the sidelines, some filming with their cell phone, others argue whose guilt it is, many simply turn around. In the water, only you remain. If you don't start swimming, no one will do it for you. This is the metaphor of life. Most drown in debt, problems, and dependence on the opinion of others, always waiting for a savior who never arrives. It's terrible, but it's also the purest truth. Only you can stop sinking and learn to float. Jewish wisdom teaches, do not blame the river, learn to swim. Do not complain about the storm, build a boat. The world is not fair to distribute care equally. There are only laws that separate the strong from the weak, and those. Seeking compassion becomes trapped. Why do we insist on the fantasy that someone will solve everything for us? Because it's comfortable. Expecting is easier than acting. Dreaming is less laborious than building. Crying requires less effort than changing. But that is exactly what weakens. When you realize that depositing hopes on others is a poison, energy previously spent on waiting becomes fuel to create your own ways, your own rules, your own strength. Today, I will present 12 survival principles that not only keep you up, but make you stronger. Each of them has been forged over centuries, spent between generations, by those who understood. To survive, one must depend on their own hands, not on other people. The first step is to recognize that expectations are silent killers. They steal years of their lives, drain their strength, and leave him paralyzed. While you wait for the right moment, help, or recognition, others are acting, and as they advance, you remain stagnant. Do not wait any longer, because tomorrow may not arrive, and time is the only coin you spend every day without reimbursement. The first rule, hard but liberating, is this: no one has an obligation to help you. It is not cruelty. It is emancipation. Remember that story of the young man who complained to the rabbi, I help others, but when I need it, I'm alone. The sage replied, if you act waiting for retribution of the same people, it's a slave. True strength is doing good without expecting anything in return. How many times have you hurt yourself because someone has not met your expectations? How many hours have lost complaining of lack of recognition? This pain is useless. It only consumes you inside. Accept. No one is required to give you jobs, financial support, or understanding. The sooner internalizing this, the less time will waste on lamentations, and the more you can invest in your own progress. This knowledge is like a bucket of cold water, uncomfortable but awakened. While you wait for help, it is hostage. But when I assume I owe nothing to anyone, and no one owes me anything, you free yourself. Your hands are free to build, your feet to walk. Research and modern thinkers confirm this truth. Viktor Frankl showed that the meaning of life is not in the external circumstances, but in our internal attitude. Daniel Kahneman has shown that the brain seeks the easy way, but it is precisely the shortcut that makes us victims of situations. Angela Duckworth proved that success doesn't come from talent, but from the persistence of continuing even when the world goes on without you. Now ask a question honestly. Where have you invested more energy to this day in waiting or acting? How old have you lost believing that someone would solve your problems? How many days did you pass without a concrete step? A strong person stops waiting. She sits at night, takes a roll, and writes, I will do tomorrow, so I'm responsible. This I can't delegate to anyone. These notes are simple, but they function like a map that takes you out of the mist. Try living like this for just a week. You will notice that anger and frustration with others begin to disappear. It will see only itself and its own steps. And this is not loneliness, it is autonomy. Because strength is not just muscle or momentary courage, it is dominion over life itself. And the first rule, clear and relentless, sounds like an alarm clock. Stop waiting. No one has an obligation to take care of you. And this is not cruelty. It is the door to your true freedom. The second rule is even harder. No one will believe you until you believe in yourself. They are not empty words. It is a law that builds or destroys destinations. Think of the young man of the Jewish S.H. Stettel, dreaming of being a scientist, while the neighbors repeated, You can't. There are no money, no contacts. Better to be content with less. He almost gave up, almost, until your father said to him, Son, if you don't believe you can rise yourself, why should others? Faith is born within you, and only then does the world begin to follow it. As Young became a renowned doctor whose name exceeded the borders of the village. See, the world mirrors what we carry inside. If you are full of doubt, people feel this emptiness and treat you as a space to be filled by them. But if within you there is a solid core, even the strongest will respect you. This rule hurts, because it is easier to complain, no one supports me, no one believes in me. That truth, however, is that no one owes you anything. People only believe in the one who relies on. Carol Dweck has shown that growth begins when we stop seeing talent as a fix and start investing in effort. When you believe you can evolve, seek paths, no apology. Mabel Ravikant said it is the specific knowledge and the internal strength of self-confidence that create something that cannot be stolen or lost. How many times have you abandoned your plans just because someone wrinkled your nose? How many times stopped acting for lack of courage to declare, Yes, I can now imagine another scene. You wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and instead of the usual voice, it won't work, hear from yourself. Today I start. I take the first step, even if no one believes. I believe. It is this decision that gives you energy to follow. Jewish wisdom teaches, faith is not passive hope, it is a choice. The choice to get up and act, even if the world is against. When you make this decision, it starts to function as a natural law. The people around them begin to align with their inner firmness. Remember, while you doubt yourself, no incentive word will advance. But the moment you say, I can, stop ask or victim, become someone whom others come to believe. Therefore, the second rule is no one will believe you until you believe in yourself. It is not hardness, it is the truth that opens the way to strength. The third rule is even more striking. Discipline is the weapon of the strong. Many escape this word as a prison, but it is precisely it that transforms the fragile into someone impossible to ignore. Think, poverty is often born not from the lack of resources, but of lack of self-control. A person earns little and spends everything on futility. Want more, but advance. It says start tomorrow, and so are months, years, a lifetime. An old rabbi said to the disciples, if you do not rule yourself, your weaknesses will rule you. Discipline does not kill freedom, it creates it. When you are overwhelmed, when you are able to force yourself to work, learn, spare, and invest, you are released from chaos, debt, and autocommiseration. Observe the rich and powerful. Their lives may seem easy, but at the base there is always the same, the habit of taking steps every day. Cal Newport calls this deep work the ability to disconnect from noise and focus on what really matters. Jewish tradition has always placed discipline in the center. Shabbat itself is an act of discipline, a day when it is said stop work to reconnect with it, family and divine. It is not a meaningless prohibition. It is discipline in search of meaning. It was she who gave the Jewish people the inner strength to survive when the world was against. Understand, discipline is not your enemy. It is your protection. It is a shield that prevents the world from shattering it. It is a sword that cuts the superfluous and paves the way through obstacles. How many times have you postponed something important? How many promises made yourself to start a new life on Monday? Each time he betrayed himself, he lost some of his strength. But each time he has fulfilled his word, even in the small things, he forged an armor that no one can break. Ryan Holiday wrote that the obstacle is the way, but only who knows to be firm when all asks to give up can you cross it. In a world full of distractions, discipline is its only measures. The third survival rule is Do not seek ease. Seek strength in the practice of being unshakable. Each day you get up earlier, work a little more, save instead of spending on futility, is strengthening the foundations of your destination. The world can doubt, people can laugh, but discipline is something no one can get from you. Silent and slowly, it makes it invincible. The fourth rule is clear. You are not only what is within you, but also those around you. A person can be disciplined, hardworking, and intelligent, but if he is immersed in a swamp, he will eventually sinking into him. Jewish wisdom has always given enormous importance to those you choose to have around. At Pirkei Avot, it is written, get a master and avoid the bad neighbor. They are not harsh words. It is a life manual. How many times have you been emptied after talking to people who only complain but don't act? How many times have you contaminated with your inertia, your fears, your apathy? These people steal their time, their energy, their faith in themselves. Now remember how you felt alongside those who advance, people who fulfill what they promise, they create, who conquer, even without teaching it directly. Your example lit a flame that boosted your own steps. No one cares about you except those who know how to walk your own way, but they also don't have time to pull him by the hand. It is up to you to choose. Stay in the mud of the limitations or enter the current of those that follow ahead. Nassim Taleb talked about antifragility, the ability to get stronger with the blows. But it only becomes antifragile who is in an environment that does not drag him down, but challenges him. If around you there is no one who requires more than you are used to, it is a sign that you are still. Be honest. Who have you given the most attention today? To those who say won't it work, or those who show, with acts, that everything is possible? The answer to this question is the mirror of your future. The fourth survival rule is, if you want to go up, hold on to those who are already higher and not to cut ties with whom it has been stopped at the base for years. It is not betrayal. It is a choice and benefit of life itself. The environment is not a background, it is the soil where you plant your roots. Put the seed of the stronger tree in a swamp, and it will rot. But if the same seed falls into fertile land, it will become an oak that neither the storm nor time will be able to overthrow. You can change your destination, but if you don't change your environment, everything else becomes empty words. It sounds simple, but try it for just one day. How many times have you said, I'm tired, I won't make it, I'm not lucky, I can change nothing? Each of these phrases is a brick you use to build the wall around your life, a wall that then cannot transpose. Jewish wisdom teaches, the word is not when. The word is a seed. When thrown into the soul's ground, it germinates. If the seed is poisonous, a bush that will suffocate everything around. If it is strong and pure, will be born. A tree that will bear fruit will grow. Listen to the conversations around you. Some only speak of crisis, poverty, despair as if they prophesy their own failure. Others, on the contrary, talk about opportunities, work, a tomorrow that can be better. And see, your lives shape exactly as your words. This is no coincidence. It is law. Viktor Frankl wrote that even in a concentration camp, man remained human as he could choose his attitude towards what was happening. And the attitude begins with the name we give to things. The word end makes you a victim. The word trial makes you a warrior. Ask yourself now, what words do I repeat most often? Do they strengthen it or weaken it? Do you drive you to action or justify your inertia? Understand, the world listens to you. Your children hear you. Your soul hears you. If every day you fill your own poisoned ears, don't be surprised when your entire life intoxicate. Therefore, the fifth rule of survival. Watch your language as if it were your main survival tool. Why it is. Start with the basics. Eliminate from your speech the words that pull you down. Stop repeating other people's lamentations. And, above all, stop giving curses against yourself. Even if it's kidding, even if it's without thinking, you will be surprised at how much your life changes when your tongue is no longer your enemy and becomes your ally. Because the power of the word is the power of destiny. The sixth rule is clear. Survives not who never falls, but who always gets up. The history of the Jewish people is a story of falls and resurgences, persecution, excellent, destroyed houses, lost cities, and yet always the return, the reconstruction, a renewed force. Why? Because in the heart of each one was recorded this law. The fall is not the end, but the beginning of the next rise. How many times have you fallen in your life? How many times did everything seem lost, as if it was not worth fighting, but you got up? It's here. Listening to these words proof that you already have experience in surviving. The question is not how many times you have been knocked down, but how many times have you gathered. Imagine a boxer in the ring. He falls with a blow. The audience screams. The timer runs, and he has a choice. Stay on the floor or get up. If you remain down, your name will be forgotten. If you rise, even wounded, even staggering, gets the chance to turn the game. This is life. You will be overthrown, will be tested, but you will always have a chance to get up. The sages taught, Do not look for an easy way. Seek strong shoulders. Kahneman showed that reason often misses, giving into panic. But the discipline teaches, do not trust the instant sensation of defeat. Wait, breathe, get up, take the next step. Understand, each failure is not a sign of weakness, but training. Like iron in the forge, which is only strengthened under the hammer blows. If life has struck it today, do not curse this day. Tell yourself, this is making me stronger. Change your perspective on the falls. Remember at least a moment when you thought it was all over, but over time, you realized that it was precisely what led you to a new level. This is the proof. The fall does not kill. What kills is the refusal to get up. 6 Survival rule. Never give up, even when the floor is torn from under your feet. If there is breathing, there is a chance. If there is a chance, there is way. And never judge for the fall, judge only for having decided to lie down, because the force is not in the fall, but to get up faster and faster. You have heard the survival rules, and perhaps, at some point, they had too hard. But look around. The world does not care who you are or what you want. The world cares about who knows how to endure the blow. Therefore, these 12 rules are not ornaments for beautiful words, they are real steps, without which it is impossible to rise and move on. Remember, we said no one will come to save him, that it must be said no to what steals your strength, that it is necessary to learn to be just to find inner resilience. That discipline is not punishment but freedom. That respect comes only to those who fulfill their word. That wealth begins in mind, not in the wallet. That gratitude makes it stronger than complaints. That habits either steal your destination or build it. That time is your most valuable resource and cannot be wasted. That fate respects who gets up after the falls. This is not theory. It is the millennial experience. So our ancestors lived. Thus communities survived. So families rose after wars, poverty, and exhibitions. If they managed to go through the impossible, you have no right to say, I can't. You have everything you need to become stronger. You need to understand a simple truth. In this world, no one is required to save it. No one matters if you fall or keep up. But there is one that gave her breath and the choice. And as long as there is breath, there will be strength. The rest depends on your decisions, which rules you will make part of your life. Today you have heard 12 principles, but they will do nothing if you remain only as a listener. The real change begins when you get up and take a step. No, tomorrow never is the right time. Now take at least one rule and apply it today. Eliminate a word that pulls you down. Cut a habit that steals your future. Take a step toward discipline, not weakness. Say, no self-deemed, yes to action. Jewish wisdom states, don't ask when the right time will be. The right time is now. Remember, force is not in having an easy life, but in remaining human when life is difficult. You are not weak, you just forgot the power of discipline and purpose. Recover it, take it back, and then your destiny will no longer be a toy in the hands of circumstances to becoming a path you lead yourself. Subscribe to the channel and comment which rule was the most impactful for you. This is your first step towards force and it starts now. The time is now. No tomorrow, no when things get better. Know when I'm ready. Now, this is the only moment you have and also the only one that matters. Do not wait for the perfect motivation, divine inspiration, or the sign of heaven. Life doesn't work like that. It requires action. Even when the body weighs, the mind resists and the heart doubts. Do it anyway, because it is in resistance that the character is forged, and it is in action that change is born. It is not about having everything resolved. It's about starting even with the pieces out of place. One step, however small, is already more than most, and it is the step that separates those who dream of those who build. Then take a deep breath. Get up and start, not out of obligation, not out of fear, but because you deserve the version of yourself that only exists on the other side of the discipline. The rest fit the way, but the first movement, this one has to be yours. Now,